my beauties. Today I've got a tag video. I was watching Real Layla, which I have a subscription to, and this kind of sounded kind of fun. It's the My First Time tag, and I guess what I thought was kind of interesting about it was I learned some interesting things about her, and hopefully you'll learn some interesting things about me. I've actually got a list of questions here, just some different firsts, and I'll try and answer them for you. The first one is, do you still talk to your first love? We hadn't really talked since high school, and I actually reconnected with him on Facebook, and we talk every now and again, but he is married with a beautiful little girl, and I see photos of him every now and again, but that's about it. We hardly ever talk. What was your first alcoholic drink? I'm either going to say I had a sip of my dad's beer, or when I was really little, or a sip of homemade wine that he used to make. And I can't remember which was first. What was my first job? My first job, I was 12 years old, and I mucked out horse stalls. So, yeah, I shoveled manure. What was my first car? My first car was a 1986 Chevy Cavalier. And I absolutely loved this car. It was my mom's, then it was mine. And it had a rust hole through the passenger side door at the bottom. I drove it back and forth to high school my senior year. I drove it back and forth my first year of college. And by the end of my first year of college, the brake line and the gas line went. So after I got that fixed, my mom told me that I had to get rid of it. So, being my first car, I watched the thing being driven out of my driveway, and I started crying. Who was the first person to text you today? I know this is going to sound pretty pathetic, but I didn't get any text messages today. Usually it's my husband, though. He'll send me a text message on his lunch break saying, "I love you, honey, have a good night," or "I hope you're having a great day at work." Aww, yeah. But he's home with me today, so no need to text. Who was the first person you thought of this morning? Well, that would be my husband. That and my dog sleeping on the side of the bed that I almost stepped on. My two cats that were sleeping with me, and my little girl cat that was sleeping on her dresser. Who was your first grade teacher? I have to think back quite a ways because that was many years ago, but my first grade teacher was Mrs. Karbowski. And all I remembered was that she was very crabby and very old. And she actually kept the Board of Education in her class. She still kept a paddle in her class. Where did I go on my first airplane ride? I've never been on an airplane. We used to drive everywhere. I've driven down to Georgia from Michigan. We've driven out to South Carolina, to Florida, out west, but I've never been on a plane. Who is your best friend, and do you still talk? Actually, I have, when I was little, I had two best friends, my cousin Amy and my cousin Kristen, and they're sisters. And their parents live in Minnesota. In fact, they still do as well. And they would come across during the summer for a week to Michigan's Upper Peninsula, the UP. And we'd drive north from Michigan from the Lower Peninsula to the Upper Peninsula, and we'd meet them and we'd camp for a week. And then we'd send each other letters during the school year until we got to see each other again. So that was a lot of fun. And I do still talk to them on Facebook. Whose wedding were you in for your first time? I was actually in my brother Dave and his wife Nancy's wedding, and I was the flower girl. And I think I was maybe like 5. What was the first concert you ever went to? I went to see New Kids on the Block when I was like in 5th or 6th grade. Maybe even 4th grade, I can't remember which. But all I remember was they were really, really popular, and I still, every now and again, listen to their old stuff. First broken bone. Knock on wood. I have never had a broken bone. I'm one of these lucky ones that never has. And I don't plan on it. First piercing. My first piercings were my ears. I've got my eyebrow done and a Monroe. And that's it. I'm not getting anything else done. My first detention. Probably 6th or 7th grade. For passing notes in class. I went to a very, very strict high school, and you just did not do that. I had some teachers that would send you to detention for passing notes in class. My first roommate. My first roommate would have been my roommate Nicole, and we were college roommates. I run into her every now and again, but we keep losing touch. If I had one wish, what would it be? These couple of questions really aren't first time, but if I had one wish, what would it be? I wish that they would stop animal testing. I really have a problem. Like I've said in tutorials, that I will not use products that have been tested on animals. I think it's wrong. So yeah, I think an end to animal cruelty. What is something I would love, what is something you would want to learn if you had the chance? I'm always trying to learn new things. I'm always looking up recipes, learning how to create new things, so I'm just always trying to absorb new things, so I really can't think of anything else. It's always looking something up and then learning how to do it then, so I really can't think of anything. What were your first lessons you ever took? What were the first lessons you ever took? My mom's a piano teacher, so the first lessons that I ever took were piano lessons. Needless to say, I branched away from that and I started singing, and then I got into doing art, makeup, graphics. But my first lessons were piano. So, thank you, Mom. So yeah, if you would like to do this list and tag me or answer one of the questions in the comment section, feel free to do so. Yeah, so you can follow me on Google+, on Facebook, and on Instagram, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye now!